Ag AM in Kansas is brought to you in part by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor on Ag AM in Kansas. I'm your host, Conrad Cavus. Kansas State Research and Extension recently held a series of soybean production schools that were offered in February of 2015 to provide in-depth training targeted for Kansas soybean producers.
We're here today at the K-State Soybean School, which I've been fortunate enough to be invited to talk about insect pests of soybeans. And in Kansas, we have primarily three insects that can be very devastating as far as yield goes. We have several pests that can cause concern because of defoliation on the leaves, and I call those indirect feeders. But we have three that primarily can and do feed on the marketable product, the pod and or the seed inside the pod. That is the corn earworm, or sometimes called the soybean podworm, the green stink bug or brown stink bug. There's a couple of different species of stink bugs. Probably the most common in Kansas is the green stink bug, and the bean leaf beetle adult. Those three can all feed on the pod itself. In that case, if they do, they will open up the seeds to desiccation and to disease or to just falling out, and that impacts the marketable value very quickly. Or they can, in the case of the stink bugs, they will just feed right directly through the pod onto the seed, where they suck the juice out of the seed. They leave no telltale sign of their feeding, so most growers don't even realize they're there until they harvest and there's only a third or a half of the yield that they were expecting.
Producers should be careful in identification with pests, and when they are sure they know what it is, they should go out and sample these pests to find out when they first arrived in the soybean fields.
If producers suspect that they have any of these soybean feeding insects in their field, they need to get out and sample, especially just as the pods are starting to set in the early reproductive stages. The best way to sample, there's two different ways. Number one, you can get out with a sweep net. That's an easy way. You get out and sweep sample your beans, and if you find any of the pests that you're interested in, then you set that aside and you go out and you do what we call shake sampling. And that's where you take a 1 to 3 row foot of the plants and you shake them on the ground and you count the number of insects that fall out. This is really the only way to quantify the number of pests that are going to be feeding on the pods. The sweep sampling is easy because that will tell you when they are first there, when you first detect them. So you may do that 2 or 3 weeks before they actually arrive in the field. But once they arrive, then you need to get out and do the shake sampling so that you can count how many are actually in each row foot of your beans. Anytime you decide to treat, whether it's agriculturally or structurally around your house, it's all about timing. The insecticides all work relatively well. The companies have spent many millions of dollars developing these insecticides, registering them, and targeting certain pests.
Thank you for watching this Farm Factor episode on soybean schools. For more of Farm Factor, or if you want to view this program again, visit us on www.agaminkansas.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. So have a good day with good luck.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.